All right, guys, got the tiller back out here today. You notice it's kind of a different day today. It's bluebird sky. It's really beautiful out here. We're supposed to have highs in the 80s today, which means we're gonna have more thunderstorms this afternoon. So I really need to get busy and get this area ready to go before the rain comes. Just a little touchback of what we did yesterday when we were working in the high tunnel, putting down that plastic, getting the tomatoes put in, all that kind of stuff. We kind of neglect this little area out here on video. What this is it's actually a 25 by 65 growing area. And when I set this up, you notice that my 20 by 65 DIY high tunnel is in the background there. I set this up to give me one bed of space, which is 3 foot. So I left a 5 foot gap there, and to put another high tunnel right here if I wanted to. It's a relatively flat area. It's got awesome drainage. I don't have any drainage issues in that tunnel. And this is the same part of the land here. The only difference is I've got trees on this side, and yes, I do trim the trees up a little bit, but they are maple trees. So I do get a lot of branches, broken off branches from the wind, and I'm just kind of concerned when we have such high winds here. Since I live on top of this hill, you guys know, I'm concerned about branches flying off and poking a hole in the plastic. Whether that's going to be an issue or not, I may go ahead and just put one up here and just put it out to the wolves and see what happens. But eventually I would like to put some type of structure right here so I could have double growing space here and then another high tunnel up there. We've talked about all that. But today, all I did was set my rototiller on down to about an inch and a half, 2 inches at the most. All I'm doing is going to go back and incorporate all this soil together, get all that compost that was in here prior mixed into the whole system. Then I'm going to go through, you guys have watched me take my string lines. I'm going to go through with my string lines and I'm going to set these beds up. And then we're going to put the drip irrigation down, and then we are going to put the plastic down, and that's all we're doing. We're not going to burn any holes. We're not planting anything for at least another 2-3 weeks. The reasoning behind that is I wanted to get all the amendments and all the compost and everything incorporated in this ground, and then I want to cover it. Once again, we go back to that. You either want to cover bare soil or you want to grow into bare soil. You never just want to leave bare soil open. You lose all your nutrients to the weather, and to the sun will pull all the nutrients out. And also the rain, weather, anything that's going on. So I've got a lot of work to do. So I'm gonna grab my earbuds, put on some music, get my gloves on, and I'm gonna get this tilled up. You guys just hang out and watch. All right, looks like I got this all tilled up. Hopefully you guys went and got a cold drink and a snack. It takes a while to do this. And it's a good thing too. I always like to try to walk these beds. Like I said, we have not physically had anything planted in here for 10 months, maybe a little longer, because like I explained in the last little clip, we had some bad compost in here and it wasn't quite burned off, and all of our peppers and stuff we had in here basically died. The only thing that survived in here was some zinnias, and they weren't the greatest looking. So I knew at that time we had an issue. The compost company has made it right and brought me out some grade A compost last fall, so we did get that taken care of. But I just wanted to let this thing sit and burn off and then put some more amendments. But it was lucky because I did find a handful of landscaping stakes just laying out here, and possibly from before when I had those silage tarps on here. I had 3 pieces of tarp on here, and the wind would catch up here and blow it up, and then I'd come out and put more staples in. So it's probably what that's from. But I got that tilled up. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go grab my supplies. I got to get my drip tape pieces. I got to get my landscaping fabric, and I got to get my string lines and my tape, and then we're going to get this built out. Another thing about doing this video series is you know, I put one of these videos out a week to be on the Bootstrap Farmer YouTube channel. So that gives me 7 days to incorporate multiple videos of what I'm doing every day. And that's the whole point of this series, is to follow me on my journey, whether it's hard or easy, to kind of give you a grasp of what it's like in this world to succeed, to fail, to lose terribly, have those days where you're depressed thinking, why did I quit my job? Why am I doing this? I'm not making what I should be making, like this farm here does, or this farm does, or this farm does. Trust me, everybody has a bad day. They may seem like that, you know, that they're killing it, and they probably are. But there's gonna be times where you're gonna lose a bed of something, or you're gonna be a success story. That's just what it's all about. That's what life's all about. But in that short video you saw at the beginning, we tilled this area here, and I got 3 of these beds built before. We've got storms this week. You can probably see the clouds in the sky. We got another storm coming today with 40+ mile-an-hour gusts. I really need to finish this before it really rains. I tilled this bed up, you guys saw that, and I went through and I've got my lines staked out. You can see my lines, my usual go-to, how I make my market beds. 30-inch beds, 18-inch walkways. And then what I did was I took 6 buckets of compost, and I poured equally 6 buckets of compost on each one of these beds. And then I put 4 pounds of alfalfa meal on each one of these beds, and that's just to throw a little bit of nitrogen in there. And then I raked it, put my drip tape, and I put my landscaping fabric down. And I'm not burning holes in this, as you can see. As I work on down the line, I should be able to get 6 of these 65-foot beds in here. That's my plan. And I'm just going to let it sit for 2 or 3 weeks. We talked about this, and then when it's time to put my peppers in, when it's past the frost, or any chance of a frost, we'll come back through, burn the holes. And but you know, I've got string lines like a grid all over this place. I could kind of show you what I've got here. You guys can kind of see the string lines. This first string line right here, all this is straightening my beds, where I've got my bed straightened to the corner of my high tunnel where I wanted it, and I just got the string line strung across there, and that's going to tell me where I want my beds to start. And then I've got my string lines here that are plumb to the corner of each one of my high tunnels here. My high tunnel may or not be plumb, and that's okay. But if you can make your beds match your high tunnel, as long as you do that, when you come down the road here, everything looks like it's squared up, and that's what you want. You just want it to look like, you want it to look the best you can. There's no reason for laziness here. You know, you're doing the job anyway, you're doing the work. Why not take one step, another 10 minutes, and make it perfect, or make it as perfect as you can? So I ran a string line off the corner of each of the high tunnels, and that's how I knew how far these beds were off the high tunnel. So once I got the first bed squared up to the high tunnel, the rest of them are easy. You just use your stick. You saw me with that little piece of PVC pipe that had the 18-inch walkway mark and the 30-inch bed. You just leapfrog your stick and work your way down. What I may do, my wife's getting off early today from the office. So what I may do is I may go ahead and get the compost in these beds and set up. And then when she shows up, it'll be easier to have 2 people to put this landscaping fabric down, because I fought it for hours yesterday. It literally took me 25 minutes to do each row because that stuff was all over the place. And that's the only downfall of doing this by yourself. If you get a good 20 to 40 mile an hour wind, you might as well, this is a kite. So I may get those beds ready, because the rain's supposed to not be here till like 7 or 8 o'clock tonight. So that gives me plenty of time. It's only 9 o'clock in the morning. So that gives me plenty of time to get these beds built before she gets home. And then she can help me just put this landscaping fabric down.